Okay, so Courtney, I just wanted you to first start by introducing yourself and just kind of like going like from where you started from the business and all of that. Well, can you hear us? Can you hear us, Court? Okay, she said she can't hear us. Hang on, we'll figure it out.
Okay, I should be able to hear you now.
Okay, yeah, we can hear you. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, I'm just over here with like my thing muted. Like it was like all my volume was turned completely down. I'm like, no one's talking, but I was like, I'll hear everybody whenever they start. Sorry.
No, you're totally fine. Okay, so
Ignore me.
just start by like, introducing yourself. I'm sure everyone knows who you are, but just kind of starting from there.
Okay. I am Courtney Lavey, and I have been with It Works since April of 2015. I joined Courtney Bohr in April of 2015. It was kind of funny when I started this business. I actually before like had no interest in this business at all. I watched Courtney Bohr on Instagram for over a year. I thought she was cute. She had cute photos and stuff, but I was never interested in the business. I thought there's absolutely no way this 19-year-old girl makes that much money. And so actually she was back then I didn't follow that many people on Instagram. So her pictures like she posted like 10 times a day back then because like back then we had like a 3 rule, so you had to post like 5 times a day.
I remember,
And
yeah.
she would like all of her pictures and stuff would be like the only thing I would see like when I would get like on my Instagram. And so I was like, geez, like this girl posts like 100 times a day. So like I unfollowed her just for that reason. And then she ended up, I think, going on like a following spree, and she like ended up following me again, just following. And so I was like, she must like really want to follow me. So I was like, whatever, she's cute. Like I remembered her. And so I went ahead and followed her back. And then it wasn't until I had a lifestyle change. Like I was going to school at Oklahoma State, 18 hours, finishing up my degree. And I was working full time for a hospital, and then I was planning my wedding. And so I was so busy, but like I was just like grew up in a home, like my parents, had great jobs. They worked 8 to 5. And I was just like, you just get your degree, you go to work and you work for corporate America, you make good money. Like, but that's just like the day-to-day thing. Like you have a 8 to 5, 9 to 5 job. Like, and that's just how it is. You work for your 401k, you work for your retirement, your insurance, like all those things, which is totally fine. Like I never in a million years like thought like this is something I could be or would be successful at. You kind of just always think like until you're in it and you're successful with it, you kind of think like, is she lying? Could I really do that? Like, did she really make that much money with it? But you always wonder.
Yeah,
And
I felt
so
the same way.
yeah, you just kind of wonder. And so then of course I'm a very curious person. So like curiosity kind of got the best of me. And my husband, who was my fiance at the time, we've been together 11 years, and we were planning our wedding and stuff. And all of a sudden his dad passed away, and his dad was only 42 when he passed away. And we were already living an hour and a half apart. He was living in Oklahoma City and I was living in Stillwater going to school. And he ended up having to move an hour further down south to help his mom with his siblings because he had a brother in that was graduating high school and had a baby on the way in high school. And then he had a sister that's 10 years younger than him, and she was only a freshman, 8th grade in high school. Or I don't remember. I think she was 8th grade when it happened. And so he moved down here because he's the oldest, moved down here to help with his mom with his siblings. And so we were living 2.5 hours apart. And at this time, we'd been together like 7 years. His family was my family. And I just found myself, I was working overtime. I was working like 50 hours a week. And so I was like, I wonder if something like that I could make maybe an extra income, like maybe make an extra like $300 to $500 a month that would compensate for the overtime I was working. And then I could spend my weekends down here with him instead of, missing weekends and having to be separate because he couldn't travel to me because he was with his family. And
Mhm.
so I just found myself constantly wanting to be down here with him instead of only seeing him on weekends and only being like every other weekend because I was working so much. So I was like, I wonder if, I could make that extra income and that would make things easier so I could spend more time with him. And it was the week after his dad passed away, and I messaged Courtney, and I ended up joining the business. I joined right off the bat. I literally had no clue what I was doing, but I'd followed her long enough that I like kind of knew how she posted. I knew how she
yeah.
I tried the hair, skin, and nails before, and so I had really good results with that. So that's kind of like what I started with, and it just really took off for me really quick. I like just found my passion for it right off the bat. And I joined at the beginning of April 2015, and I promoted to Diamond that first month, and then I promoted it to Double is April in May, and then I promoted it to Triple in June, and then I promoted to Presidential Diamond in July. So within 4 months, I'd reached Presidential Diamond, and then found out that around that time, I was a top 150 income earner already. And then that following March, I went Ambassador Diamond. And me and Ryan, like I said, we've been together for so long. Like by the time we got married, I was ready to start our family. I was pretty much ready right then, but I was kind of in my back of my head. I'm like, I really want to go Ambassador Diamond, before we start trying for kids or before we have a baby, because I just wanted that promotion. And like, I didn't want to be stressed with like, being pregnant or having a baby and then promoting. And so I was like, we'll wait till after I go Ambassador Diamond and then we'll start trying. Well, actually I promoted to Ambassador Diamond in March of 2016. And in April, I found out I was pregnant. So I was already pregnant when I promoted to Ambassador Diamond. I just didn't know it yet. Then we ended up having Riker that following December. And now he's he's 2.5 now. And I ended up having some complications with that pregnancy and stuff. And it wasn't until then, like, I really found my why with this business, because he was premature. I had him a month early. I was really sick. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks, and I didn't get to see Riker the first 2 weeks he was born because I had to be sent to a different hospital, and he was meta-flighted to the closest NICU, and Ryan had to go with him because, of course, I wanted his dad with him. And so I didn't get to see Riker the first 2 weeks of his life. And if it wasn't for this business, like, we would have been really like worried about how we're going to make ends meet. If he needed to go back to work, or, like, we were able to take that time for Ryan to be with Riker in the NICU and be that person for him when I couldn't be. And then we got Riker home, and it was just great. Like, that's when I found my why. I'm like, if it wasn't for this business, like, things could have been so much different. Like, recovery would have been so much different. Finances would have been so much different. But because of this business, we didn't have to worry about it. So that's when my why was like, I never want Riker to have to want for anything. I always want him to have both of us there all the time. And so it wasn't until it was, I guess, about 1.5 years later that I figured out what my why truly was, and I had Riker, and now my life has completely changed, and I get to be with Riker 24/7, and I'm just full-time with It Works, and I am working on going double on my 2.0 account. That's a really long story, but after you've been in for like 4 years, your like story really develops because so much happens. So instead of going from a distributor and like this happened, like your life like totally transforms after you've been in for so long.
Yeah, they say like every 6 months like something new happens, and like that's literally like a pure example.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can. You froze, but I can still hear you. Oh, I think we lost her. Is she frozen for you guys? Okay. Okay, but y'all, she literally went presidential in 4 months. Like, I don't know. I remember like when I first got started, Shay was telling me that like Courtney Lavie, and like it was really crazy. Oh, okay, she's back.
I don't know why it froze. It like kicked me off for a second and like.
Oh no, you're fine. Don't worry.
No idea what happened.
No, you're totally fine. Okay, so one of the first questions I wanted to ask is, you did literally this. You started and just took off completely. So I just kind of wanted you to explain, like, how did you run with that momentum on your team? Because I mean, obviously going pres in 4 months. Granted, the competition play was completely different then, but like that's still insane. So I just kind of want you to go over that a little bit.
Yeah, and it's so crazy when I think back on it. I think about like, oh my God, like that was so, like it went so fast and it's so crazy. But it was really, I think, just my excitement. And like, it was literally like the blind leading the blind, that everybody that came in was new. But I didn't let that stop me. Like they were new, but they knew that I was new as well. And so I was kind of like, I know it's the blind leading the blind. I know I haven't been in that long, but we like figured things out together. And so when they saw that I promoted to Diamond really quick, they wanted that. I got it like, because back then, like it was a $10,000 bonus, I think, when I promoted to Diamond. And they wanted that too. They were like, oh, like the money's real. She's real. Like, you know, and a lot of people that were coming into that organization were people, I knew quite a few of them. I had a pretty big market on Instagram and Facebook when I first started. People that I didn't really know that followed me and stuff. But a lot of people that came into my organization were people that I knew, or like I knew who they were and stuff. They were people like from Oklahoma.
Because you met
acquaintances, so they trusted me.
Right?
Do what?
You met Kristen through the business, right? Y'all weren't friends beforehand?
I knew who she was. We went to school, two different schools, but we played basketball against each other in high school. And she went to a school that was close to Ryan's. And actually, she hung out with a lot of Ryan's friends in high school. So I knew who she was, but I didn't never hung out. I'd never talked to her in person. And she messaged me about wanting to join the business. And she was like, I want to stay home with Ella. You know, this would be awesome. She just, I'll never forget the first thing she told me. She said, I can sell ice to an Eskimo. And I'm like, okay, like this girl, I'm like, we're going to be friends. And she joined, and we instantly just went right off the bat, became best friends. You know, she joined my team like within a week of me joining, I think. And she was in my wedding that following October. Like she went with me to pick out my wedding dress. And that was I'd already asked her to be in my wedding, and I had never met her. I had never talked to her face to face. I only talked to her like on the phone and like promoting and like all that stuff. Like, and I had never talked to her, hung out with her in person, and I already asked her to be in my wedding. And I remember she was meeting us to go down to pick up my wedding dress in Texas. And her husband was like, have y'all ever even hung out? And she was like, no, but I'm in her wedding. And so it's like crazy how this business like transforms. Like, you know, you become such good friends. Like, even though you're with people that you don't see every day, you don't hang out with every day, you talk to these people. And like, I felt like I knew Kristen so well, just like her work ethic and her kids and like promoting. And like, you become best friends, and you want to build that momentum and those relationships with your team, because you want them to know like your friends outside of the business too. Like, you don't want to always talk about just business stuff. Like, you have a momentum and stuff, but like you want a trusting relationship with them. And so people that were coming into my organization were people that I had known. So like a lot of people were people that I knew, but like they trusted me. They knew kind of like if I was going to go into something, you know, how hard of a worker I was. And like, you want to lead from the front. So I just think with your momentum and your excitement, that like people feed off of that. So even if you're brand new, or even if you've been in for a while and you're promoting and you get that momentum, talk about it. Be so excited about it, because I was doing what Courtney Bohr did, and then they were mimicking what I did. And like the blind, you know, just the blind leading the blind, but like, you know, success leaves clues. And so if someone's successful, like see what they're doing and figure out your own way. And, you know, me and Kristen had been through so much in this business, but she was like the very first person to join me in this business. And, you know, she's ran and she's had her own momentum and her own success and everything, but you want to be like their biggest cheerleader too. So like when we first started, I think just the excitement and the momentum, I was constantly every single day talking about how excited I was, who was promoting, what kind of bonus they were going to get, what kind of bonus I was going to get, putting my goals out there just to show people that it was real, you know, that I was really being successful with this. And like, but literally every single day I was putting it out there. And so just really that's what you have to do. You just have to be constantly speaking positive affirmations and stuff, because that's what people are going to want to join. And that's what people are going to be like, oh, like there's so much negativity in the world and on Facebook and social media and Instagram. Like, people are going to they're going to feed off of you, and they're going to want to be a part of something that's positive and that's different. And so you just have to constantly be putting that out there. And I think that's why we had success so fast, is because everybody that was coming in was feeding off of my energy and my success and like what I was offering.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. I remember, I had joined in October of 2017. So I guess that was almost like a year.
I feel like you're like such a baby in the business.
I know.
Even though you're not, like you've been in, you know.
Yeah,
I'm like, it's like I've been in since 2015. So I'm like, she's like still like a baby.
Yeah. But like, I can purely say that, I mean, like, after I really got connected with my leaders, that's when everything changed. Because I mean, like, my leaders are my best friends, and like even girls like that are still joining, like I just feel so much more connected to them, because like I said this on like a training the other day, but like they're not just a box on your chart, like they're a human. And like I feel like just really after I started like wanting to like know them and like get to know them, that's when everything like really kind of like I guess, laid flat for me, I guess, just because like they're
Yeah.
people. But yeah, I love that.
And with this business, sometimes like it is like I went through a season too, like of people quitting and leaders quitting, because you get really invested into these people and like they're promoting and they're working and like you want it so bad for them. And then you will get into those mindsets of like people quitting and you wondering, why did they quit? And you feel like you poured so much into them, you couldn't have given them anything else, and like they just kind of let you down. And then I had feelings for a while of like not wanting to get that close to my teammates. Like I wanted to keep it as like a business mindset, a partnership and stuff. And because I would be so hurt when people would leave, and I would be so like, I would dwell on it and it would just do nothing for my business. But when I did that, my business would decline. We'd see such a decline because, people want to know, if you want people to trust you, you want to build those relationships and those friendships. And even though it's hard at times when people go separate ways or make other decisions for themselves and stuff, it's still worth it, because where your business is at now. So I always suggest, build those relationships, build those friendships, because it's just a big support system and you want to have people cheering you on. And like I said, when I had the mindset of, I'm just going to treat this as a business, like business mindset all the time, I saw such a decline in my business. And you have to like have those relationships, because that's what this business is all about.
Yeah.
You want to be cheering each other on. You want to feel it whenever they're down. You want to feel it when they're up. And like as a leader, you feel so many emotions because you have so many different emotions from your team. Like you're going to feel all of it. Yeah. But at the same time, like it's such a rewarding thing. And so you just kind of have to embrace it. But like I always suggest, building those friendships like over just having a partner, like building a business partnership.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I feel like I said, after I became like super connected with my team, I just feel like I can just go to them about like different things, and I don't feel like I'm going to hurt their feelings or anything, because it's like they know that I'm coming to them with love and I'm not just a tyrant. So like I love that.
Yeah.
Because you'd said this, I wanted to ask, so how did you handle distributors leaving? I obviously know, like, of course, like with seasons and everything, it's going to happen. I've experienced it, and like it was rough, but I just kind of wanted you to go through, like, how do you go through all of that?
Yeah, so I promoted like so fast that I really didn't have, it wasn't until after I promoted to Presidential Diamond and Ambassador that I had people like that really like quit that affected me, because we promoted so fast. We really didn't have anybody like any time for people to quit, because everybody was promoting. We had so much momentum, and back then a Presidential Diamond chart was huge because we had 5 different legs, and so there were so many people already under me. And so if a $400 quit or $400 here quit, like it really wasn't a big deal because there were so many people. But it wasn't until after I promoted to Ambassador Diamond that I had like leaders quit. There were significant people on my chart, or like I had triple diamonds quit. I've had double diamonds quit, diamonds. Like, and you're thinking, if people are making this much money, like why is this something that they would ever want to leave? And sometimes it's just you can't take things personal. And I think like when I did, like I said, you feel everything as a leader. And I finally had to take a step back and realize that it's more about them and it's not about me. Because I'm very one of those people, like, what did I do wrong as a leader? What could I have said to make them stay? Why did they not want to be on my team? You always ask yourself like what you did wrong. And then I had to take a step back and realize that it wasn't ever me, it was them. You have to look at it as a business decision. Like, if you're working a 9-to-5 job and someone turns in their 2 weeks notice because they're doing something better for themselves, like they're going to get a different job that works better for their hours or works better for their time. Like they're doing that for them. They're not doing it to hurt you. And so I had to take a step back and look, they're making that business decision for them. And that way I wasn't bitter about it, because you always want people to do what's best for them, even if it hurts us. So you have to make this business about other people and not about yourself. Because like you can't go into it like, oh, well, they quit and it's affected my chart, or they were a ruby leg and now I have to build a whole new ruby leg, or they were a $400 and now I have to find a new distributor. Like you can't look at it that way, because you're making the whole thing about yourself. And so as soon as you get back, like, okay, well, she quit, but now I can find someone that wants it more. Okay, she quit, but that means I can get a new distributor in and help them promote. So you have to like take the negative and like change it with something positive, because if you always look at it like you're for yourself, you're going to be so bitter about it. And I got so tired of being bitter about it. So I tried to like put myself in their shoes and be like, how would I feel if that was me leaving and it was something I thought was really like better for myself? And that's how, they looked at it. It was just about them. And so just change your mindset, guys, because it's not the end of the world. Your success is going to come. Your momentum is going to come. But every time someone quits, that just means it's opening up a door for you to help somebody that really wants this. And it's going to allow you to run with your runners instead of dragging people along, because most of the time, the people that quit or leave are people that you were dragging along anyways. So it's really good just to let go of that and bring in the people that want to end. Like, I have a whole different team now than I did when I went ambassador. New doubles, new triples, and we have such a different team, but it's such a too. Like, these are people that really want it. They work their own businesses, they run, and they are such positive leaders. And so it's just a totally different team than it was when I went ambassador, but it's also refreshing. Like, I had those deals of triples quitting and my chart, crumbling and rebuilding. And then also something that stuck with me that Joel Dunn told me or said one time, and he said, I always treat people like a 400 box until they prove you otherwise. And so you bring people in, and cause I get those mindsets of oh, she's going to be really awesome. She's going to be really good. And then she does, you bring someone in and they do nothing. They had to do absolutely nothing. And you put them in an emerald, oh, she's going to be my new emerald. She's going to have a huge organization, and they do nothing. And you build them the whole way. Or someone comes in and you're like, oh my gosh, she's going to be terrible at this business, but I'm still going to sign her up. We'll see how it goes. And then they take off, and you put them in a 400 box. And you're like, crap. Those happen all the time. So I had to put my mindset as I'm going to treat every single person as a 400 box until they prove to me otherwise. Until they prove to me what kind of leader they want to be, how much money they really want to make. And I always, like I said, I always kind of go by the first couple of weeks of their work ethic and stuff, kind of just based on how much I'm going to work with them. And so I think just letting go of expectations really helped me. Because you have so many expectations, and that just sets you up to feel defeated. It sets you up to be disappointed. And so don't just constantly have expectations of people, because you're always going to be disappointed. That's just inevitable. People are always going to disappoint you. Mm-hmm. And so let go of your expectations and always treat everybody the same whenever they come into your organization. And then train them all the same, teach them all the same things, and see who takes off and see who's willing to work with you. And that's going to make your business so much more fun, because they're meeting you halfway and you're not just dragging people along that really don't care.
Yeah, I like that, because I remember
I get on a rant, but I get really excited about that topic. Really how I feel I have, because I've been through all of those emotions too.
Yeah, I like that, because I've never heard the treat everyone as a 400 box until proven otherwise, but that's so true. I loved how you said that, because I remember the other day I had a girl leave, and her leader had come to me oh my gosh, she left, and I was like, well, when was the last time she enrolled something? And she was like, well, never. And I'm like, so no offense,
what's the matter?
Who cares? It's okay.
Yes.
It's just we'll find someone who wants it more. Yeah, I totally love how you said that, because that's always how I tried to look at it. Because obviously when people leave, as a leader, it's just kind of a slap in the face, and you're like, what did I do wrong? And I had a really high leg on my team leave one time, and it was just what did I do wrong? And I literally dwelled on it for months. And as soon as I realized that it was not me, the next month I went triple. And that right there just kind of proved everything.
Yes, and you just have to get over those feelings. As long as you're pouring into your team and you're doing what your team needs and you're being a leader and stuff, it's like I said, the decisions, it's not about you. It is about them. And so, like I said, the more you make it about yourself, the more you're going to feel defeated, and you're going to constantly be wondering also, I think that sometimes too, people think when people are leaving and quitting and whatever, when they think it's all about them, they start to change things. They start to try to lead differently. They start trying to implement new things with their team. And all of a sudden it's all crumbling because they're not leading the same way that they used to. They're trying to implement what works for everybody else and not what works for them. And so I remember I'm feeling that way too. You're trying to implement what Jade does. You're trying to implement what Cassie does, what Cheyenne does. You're constantly implementing things that are working for everybody else. And then all of a sudden you have 100 things going on and nothing's working. And so you just get in your head about what kind of leader you are and thinking you should be doing all these different things, when really, like I said, the decisions are all about them and they're not about you. So you just have to stop taking it personally.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Okay, so I obviously sent you these questions, but I'm going to kind of bounce around with them, just kind of roll into everything. So
I get on a rant. So just
I do too. I
talk a lot, so it's all good.
So I know like some people had asked me earlier, like I like literally cannot enroll distributors anymore, that it's not $20, like $50. So I want you to go on a tangent about that, because I'm sure you've built all of your business with $99 kits. So I just want you to like talk about all of that.
Girl, I don't think, okay, I've been in this business 4 years, and it was not until last year, I think it was last year, that they've ever in this entire, like, since they've joined, like, started this business in 2001, had they ever offered these starter kits for less than $100, like, ever. And so I would,
like the $10 deal in like 2017.
the $10 deal, I didn't like that too much, but with the $20 and the $50, like, I got more like distributors that would work and stuff, because they were still having to pay something to get started. But guys, I built all the way to ambassador when they were $99. Like I said, I thought it was crazy when it was $50, and I thought it was even more crazy when it was $20. And $99, guys, is a steal. And so you guys, you have to, if you go, okay, say you're talking to a potential distributor and you're going in, you're thinking to yourself, $99 is a lot, I'm afraid to offer them that price. They're going to feel that, and they're going to think that too. But if you go into that conversation like, girl, you're going to get over $120 in free products. It's only $99. This is a steal for you for the kind of money that you're going to make. And you talk it up and you're so excited that if you act like that, $99 is not a big deal, they're going to feel that too. Like if you're thinking like it's not a big deal, they're going to think it's not a big deal. But if you go in it and you're tiptoeing around them and stuff about $99, then they're going to feel like you think that that's a big deal too. And they're thinking, oh, well, if she makes that much money, why would she think $99 was a big deal? You know, like, you have to be confident in what you're selling. And guys, if I would have paid thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for my starter kit if I would have known what it was going to do for me and my family financially. So you have to be like, it's only $99. I always make sure I put that one word in before I say it's $99. I'm like, girl, it's only $99. You're going to get this, this, and this. You're going to be eligible for this, this, and this. And that is a freaking steal. Like your energy and your excitement, but just those keywords, it's only $99, like totally changes the conversation. And if they think it's a problem and they think it's a big deal, ask them, be like, what was the last thing you spent $100 on? I know I spend $50 every time I fill up in gas. You know, I think I probably spend over $50 on Dr. Peppers every month because I get a 32-ounce Dr. Pepper every single day. That's over $30 a month. Like, you have to make them think of the things that they mindlessly spend a dollar on, and that $99 adds up so fast. And so when you show them that, they're like, oh my gosh, I spend $99 mindlessly every single month. And so you just don't be afraid to like talk to them and ask them, why do you feel like $99 is a lot? And I always make sure to tell them too, like if they act like $99 is a lot, or they act like they can't afford that or anything else, I'll make sure I tell them, girl, if you can't afford $99 for your future, then that's why we're talking. That's why I'm here for you, because you shouldn't have to live that way. You know, like if you have to think, I can't spend $99, then we need to talk. Like I need to help you get more money in your bank account, because no one wants to live like that. Mm-hmm. And so you just have to remind them of like why they reached out to you, or why they were interested in the business in the first place, or what the income could do for them. And that $99 will, once they realize like what it could do for them.
Yeah, I purely believe that. I remember, I think there was like a $10 deal before I had joined the business, but I wasn't in it yet. And then I don't even remember when the first deal was, but it was just like, I was like, this is crazy. Cause I mean, like there's like, you look at like all the other companies, it's like $500 to join, which like, I remember on a Zoom one time, some lady had said that like she had opened a yoga studio and it was like $30,000. And I'm like, who just has 30 grand lying around? I mean, like, yes. I don't, but like,
I always remind people that too. I always tell them, you know, if you are going to start up your own business, and you are going like your own company, like a boutique or anything like that, you're going to have to spend tens and thousands of dollars to even start up the company. And you're going to have to carry inventory, and you're going to probably have to take out loans unless you've saved up to open this business. And it's going to take you months and months and months before you ever see any capital or you ever see any income, because you're trying to pay off that loan or the debt that you had getting into that business. Girl, I'm going to help you make your $99 right back. So like it's literally a risk-free investment, because if you join this business and I don't help you make at least $100, then I'm not doing my job.
Yeah, I always like flip it back and say like, this is my job to make sure that you're successful. So like, why do you think
Yes,
I'm not going to help you? Because like, I want money, so like, I'm going to help you
it
make money.
is.
That's
And you have to
always
remind them that because they're like, what if I waste $100? Because I get that question a lot, even with the $50. Like, what if I waste $50? Or what if I don't see any income? And that's what I tell them. Like, if I can't help you make $100, I'm not as good at this business as I thought I was. I'm like, it is my job. That is what I do. And I promise you, if that's the only thing that you ever get out of it, I will help you make your $100 back.
I totally believe
That
that.
guys, that's one distributor. That's $100 in the free product that they can sell for retail. Like, it is so easy for them to get their money back, and so you have to make sure that they know that you're going to help them do that. And then anything after that $100, like, yes, they have their auto shipments, but I don't go into that. We're talking about the starter kit. Like, you know, like, I'm going to help them make that back. And so, you know, like, you just have to make sure that they know that you're there for them. You're going to help them make that $100 back. And then anything after that $100, guys, is a profit. Whether it's $50, whether it's $75, like, even if it's $50 a month, after that $100, everything's a profit. And so you have to look at it like that, because most companies starting up, you're going to have to pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And it's going to be months or even years before you ever see any financial gain from it.
Yeah.
And you're going to have your own business. Like, that's so amazing to start for $99.
Yeah, that's so true. I love what you said about that. Okay, so the next question is, how do you handle when distributors are just like, I can't do this promotion even when they're like 500 BV away? Like, how do you handle all that?
I love this question because it's kind of funny. So I really try to get people thinking about why they can't. Like, why do you have those feelings? Why do you feel like you can't? But I also give them examples of like what I've pulled off over the years. And I remember, like, I think it was my presidential promotion and Kristen's triple promotion. And that week before we promoted, we were over, she was 13,000 inboxes, like 13,000, not just by group volume, like 13,000 away from her promotion. And I think I was like 20,000 away from presidential the last week before we promoted, and we made it happen. Like, so much happens, guys, in that last 3 or 4 days of the month, and it's not over until it's over. But if someone comes to me, and I got this from Alyssa Bellew, so when I promoted, was about to promote to ambassador, she messaged me and she was like, hey girl, are you promoting? Like, because you're promoting in the same month. And she was like, are you going to do it? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, it was like the first week of the month. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I think so. I haven't really decided if I'm going to push it yet. And she was like, well, if you haven't decided, then you're probably not going to do it. And I was like, what? And it kind of like caught me off guard. And I was like, what? And her point was, if you tell yourself, if you don't know, like, then it's not going to happen. Like, if you haven't made that decision, then you're not going to do it. And if you don't think you can do it, then it's not going to happen. So now, and she did that to somebody else. I think it might have been Claire or somebody. She did that too. And so she was like, are you going to promote this month? And they were like, I don't know. And then she was like, well, then you're not. She was like, what? And so from her, like, kind of got that. I'm like, that's so true. So when someone comes to me and they're like, I don't know what to do, I'm not going to promote this month, or I am like, you're going to promote this month, like, you're going to go double, you're going to get this, and they're like, I don't know if I can. I'm like, okay, then you're probably not. Like, and they're like, wait, what? And so when they feel like, because I'm just like that mindset, like, if you say you don't know if you can and you think you can't, you're right. Like, you're not going to make it happen. You have to know with every ounce of your being that you're going to do it. Even if you have that little voice in your head saying, I don't know if I can, I don't know if I'm going to make it, you have to push it aside and be like, no, I am making this happen regardless, because I deserve it. I'm going to do it. And it's all up to you. Like, your promotions are up to you. And so you have to take everyone else out of the equation. Like, so-and-so is not working. So-and-so is not doing this. I have 500 BV, like, to do. Like, just do it. Stop thinking about how you're going to do it and just do it. But when I have teammates that come to me and they're like that, I just ask that simple question, or I'm like, or I just tell them, I'm like, okay, well, if you think that, then you're probably not going to promote. Like, and I'm very red. And so I have a lot of tough love too, but you have to, like, get them thinking about, like, why does she think I can't do it? Like, I don't like people doubting me. So if Jade or Ashley or Courtney were like, I don't think she's going to promote this month, or I don't think she can pull that off, I'm like,
watch me.
I'm like, that's not happening. And so I just like to prove people wrong. And so if you ever have people that come to you and they think they can't, either ask them why they think that, or just be like, okay, well, then you're probably not going to promote that month. Like, you have to just make sure that the first thing is you can believe in them all you want. You can want it for them for your chart, all these things. But if they don't want it or they don't think that can happen, it's not going to, because they have to believe in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's our decision. Like, it's our job to like put that, you know, in there and stuff. But you have to get that mind reeling and be like, okay, like, oh yeah, I was just saying I couldn't do it, and get them thinking about their words and like, you know, their affirmations and all those things. And that's just a simple way to be like, okay, well then if you think you can't, then you're probably right.
Yeah, I remember, I think it was the month I promoted to double, and like I was 10 or 11,000 away. And like, I was like, that's just not gonna happen. Like, what? And Shay was like, no, like, it's gonna happen. And just constantly just like, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And I was like, okay, like, it's gonna happen. And like the end of the month, we were like 2,000 away on the 24th. And the next morning we were back up to 4,000. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, I was so upset. And basically I like called Shay bawling, and she's like, well, are you gonna promote or are you not? And I was like, I'm gonna promote. And she was like, okay, then pull up your pants and let's go promote. And I was like, okay. It was just like,
and just
running, just like running off of her excitement. But something that I can't remember who said it, but they were just like, no volume is high enough if your dreams are higher. And like, that's so true. Like, 7 days left, 20,000 group volume. Like, that's ridiculous. I think about that all the time. Like, every time I count like up how close I am to Prez, I'm always like, Court was 20,000 away. It's always try to tell myself.
Yes. And so much can happen. You know, like I said, like I get more volume coming in the last 3 or 4 days of the month than I do probably all month. Like, because people are working for their promotions, they're, you know, sealing the deal. They're more, if everybody worked all month like they do the last 3 or 4 days of the month, then it would be so crazy what volume and paychecks would be like, because people would be unstoppable. But they just wait, and then until the 25th, like they work, but like not like they do once the 25th.
Yeah, like, I don't sleep from like the 25th to the end of the month.
Oh crap, like I'm this far away and I thought I was this far away, or I'm only this far away and I thought I was further. Like, it just, the 25th puts some kind of like push into you, and like, and then everybody just like kicks it into gear. And so you have to work all month, you know, knowing that you're going to make this happen. And the devil is going to try to tell you that it's not going to happen, that you're not worthy of it, that you can't make it happen. And you just have to put those fears aside and stop listening to him, and just tell him to like shut up and just get your mind right. Like, if you need to do self-development, if you need to listen to a song, if you need to get on with your leader, like, you know, I'm comfortable enough with Courtney because we're such good friends and we're so close, that can be like, dude, I feel like I cannot pull this off. I have no idea what the crap I'm doing. And then like, she can give me that pep talk. And like, Kristen does it all the time too. She's like, Courtney, like, what the crap am I even doing? And I'm like, you get 5 minutes. Like, you get 5 minutes to dwell and complain, and then it's over. And that's our thing, you know? So you have to let people, you can talk to your teammates about those fears and like, and stuff, but you got 5 minutes, and then we're getting back to work. Because you don't want them dwelling on it too long, because if they do, it's like things just fester, you know? And so, like I said, me and Kristen have always had that relationship too. Like, I'm like, okay, then you get 5 minutes and it's over. Like, we're not talking about it again. And she's like, okay. So you have to get everything out in that 5 minutes. And it's just such a refreshing feeling. So if you do have teammates that are talkers and they need to talk it out, give them, you know, that chance, but then be like, okay, you got it out. Now let's get to work. Because that's your job, to keep pushing them and keep motivating them. And a lot of the times you're going to feel like a sounding board when it comes to promotions and your team promoting. And especially if you're in positions like that you're not promoting, but your team is, you're going to be like sounding boards all of the time. But you have to always just be cheering them on and like letting them know that they can do it regardless of how they're personally feeling, because you're going to be their biggest cheerleader. And so they have to always know that someone's in their corner. Like, just when you're promoting and stuff, if you, like, when I feel like your team, like everybody, like Cheyenne, like her whole team, like got so much momentum when she got over the fact of everybody quitting. Because me and her had, you know, long talks at conference, like when she was Diamond, I think paid it as an executive maybe, and talking and, you know, about her team and different things. And once she got over people not working and stuff, like all of a sudden she went presidential Diamond within the same year, you know, like, and I feel like once she made that decision, it just reflected onto y'all's whole team, you know, and y'all all just took off. And so you have to remember like what it felt like when she made that decision, and you have to make that decision for your team too. Be like, okay, I'm promoting, I'm doing this, who's coming along with me? And like, it will all just come together, but it's going to be you leading your team. And if you have distributors under you, you're a leader, and you have to constantly be leading them in the ways that you want them to go. And you have to be an example. Like, you can't be doing things like you always have to be doing what you expect of them. So if you're wanting them to enroll massive amounts of volume, if you're wanting them to enroll high BV orders or bring in distributors, you have to be doing that too, and not just be sitting on the side like coaching, like telling them. Like they have to see that you're doing it, and then the momentum just like comes together. And I feel like that's kind of when people start believing in themselves, when they start seeing that success.
Yeah, it's like builds that like confidence in them. I love that.
Yeah. Even if it's just like Ruby or Emerald, like once people start promoting, they're hungry for the next rank. And it just keeps like your whole team promoting and wanting more, because they just get that feel of excitement and people cheering them on, and like their promotions being announced, and you want that. Like I am one that I feed off of like people loving on me and like cheering me on and like bragging and like on me, or like letting me know that they believe in me, or that I've been somebody that was influential in their life or helping their business. Like I need those words of affirmation, and that makes me want to do more for people, you know? So like you just have to figure out your team and their colors and all that stuff, and like what's going to motivate them. And like that you're going to like just, it's like a domino effect. It's like if you're excited, it's going to go through your whole team. But as soon as you like go down a couple notches and you're feeling like that, like it's going to reflect through your whole team. So you just kind of have to always be that sounding board and just be really excited for them and always cheering them on. And they will eventually like build that belief in themselves once they start seeing a little bit of success.
Mm-hmm. I love that. So this is the last question I have, but where do you put your focus on with promotion months? Like when you know, like you're pushing for double 2.0. So like, what are you focusing on to make sure that happens?
Okay, so I have always promoted the exact same ways. And when I first joined, I kind of just got a system going. And back then, and it's still kind of the same, when I was promoting, like I literally broke everything down into like every single chart into smaller pieces. Like every single rank, you guys, is made up of rubies. And I knew that. And so I always like kind of like not delegated, like I didn't boss people around, but like we always had a game plan at the beginning of the month. Like I didn't really make it an option if we were promoting or not. I'm like, we're going diamond, we're going double, we're going triple, we're going prez. Like, and the first thing I would do, like from like the first through like the first couple of weeks, probably, maybe not even that. Like I still brought in like customers and volume and stuff, but I was really focused on distributors. I wanted to get all of my boxes filled ASAP. And I always, like I said, I always just looked at it like every person or every box needed a person in that, and every person needed 400 in sales. And so that my biggest goal was, you know, make sure everybody had their 400 BV and like all that stuff. But like I said, every single rank, you guys, is made up of rubies. And so if you put it down, like every single leader that's promoting, if you put like every single person would be like responsible for 2 400 boxes. Like ideally every ruby and above is going to be working with you. And so they really only have 2 to 3 distributors that they're focused on getting their 400 boxes filled. And so I always just kind of like delegated who was responsible for what boxes, kind of like we always just had a game plan, and we just went from the rubies up, like rubies, emeralds, diamonds, and who was responsible for what volume. So everybody knew when they enrolled a customer where they were moving their volume to. And then once they got those filled, then we would be like, she's like, okay, mine are done. Like, where do I move volume to next? And so then it kind of just gets to communication, guys, is key. And I've always had promotion chats. So I'd get promotion chats with everybody in the leg. When everybody enrolls a customer, they'd let us know, and I'd just get with that leader and be like, okay, where'd you move your customer? Okay, where do you, and just mark it off. And I know now, like back then when I was promoting, like we didn't do Zoom or anything, but we did power hours. I just didn't know, like it wasn't called power hours back then. But the way you guys work is so awesome. Like y'all are on y'all's Zooms and y'all work together, and I think that's really cool. And so now we get on Zooms a lot and work together, and like we're cheering each other on when someone's enrolling a customer or something. Like they put it in the chat, or like, oh, I got a customer, and they're like, oh, what did you do? Like it's fun being able to work together. And so I really just, like I said, every single month I have my chart at the very beginning of the month, every single person, and I get with every ruby and above and be like, I'm going double, or I'm going diamond, or like let them know like what rank I'm going for. I have you in a spot that I want to help you promote to ruby or emerald, you know, whatever rank they're going for. Be like, are you with me? Do you want to run with me? And they either say yes or no. Like you kind of get that feel at the beginning of the month if they're in with you. And if they are, then you're like, okay, since you're in with me, then here's what I have for your chart. You have these people under you. So when you enroll a customer, this is where you're moving to until they reach 400 BV. And so like you kind of just communicate and get everybody's game plan going, ruby and above, and get those charts out so that everyone always knows where they're moving volume. And you always have a game plan, because if you don't have a game plan, I always tell everybody that like it's like a roadmap. If you don't have a map, map, you're not going to have any idea where you're going. And you're going to end up in like, no, you're not going to go anywhere. So you always have to have a destination. And so you have to have a map to get there. And so those charts are your maps, guys. And you just always have to have your game plan at the beginning of the month on how you're going to make it happen. And also, too, I would like total up all of the GV that I needed. So if it was like 10,000 volume and I had 30 days in the month, I'd be like 10,000 divided by 30. And that's how much volume I needed to work with getting every single day, so that I'm not just like at the end of the month, like freaking out on volume and stuff. And I think now I am working on going double diamond on my 2.0. And I think besides the, like with boxes, I'm like 1,100 away. And so that's just because of working for a couple of months, but always having my chart and my game plan. Like I know exactly where everybody's moving volume to, and you just have to always have your charts out and everybody knowing, you know, their game plan. And like I said, if Ruby is emeralds, like they need their own charts marking off their volume and stuff, so that any time of the day you're like, I need your chart, can you send it to me? They can send it to you. I sometimes even test my distributors, sometimes like my leaders, and I'm like, hey, like I need your updated chart so that I can update mine. And so like I know if they're working it or not, based on how fast they can send it to me. Mm-hmm. and so like I kind of just like ask them just so I know that they're doing their part on updating their charts. They're working on their volume and they're working with their team. And so you can just do things like that. But that's how I know, like, if they're keeping up with their stuff, that's going to make things way easier on us too.
I love that. Yeah, that was awesome.
I don't know if that helped at all, but that's just kind of like.
No, yeah, it totally did.
I did that's just kind of what I focus on a promotion month with. Like, I'm a very strategic person. Like, I like to have a game plan and I like to like stick to it. So like at the beginning of the month, it was always really important to me to like know exactly what I needed. And then I usually on the back of the chart, like however many distributors I needed, if it was 10, I'd be like number 1 through 10. And every time someone enrolled a distributor for that chart, I would write their name in. So I knew when I got those 10 people, and then whether or not people needed to start stacking for volume or anything like that. And so I always had that, like I always knew exactly where somebody needed stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that.
I hope that helped. I talk a lot, you guys.
Huh?
I said I talk a whole lot, so I hope I'm helping you guys.
No, you are totally. I've been like, they've been texting me like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then
good. I'm so glad. Always sometimes I feel like I'm so old and like I don't have anything like anybody wants to hear.
Not at all. Oh my gosh. I'm just trying to think because I was thinking of a question and then I forgot it because I'm like so ADD. But if any of you guys have
me too.
last-minute questions, please drop them in the chat.
Yeah, anybody has, they can ask in the chat too if they want.
Yeah. Please ask in the chat. We will answer.
I got my cast off today, and then I'm in this freaking ugly boot.
Oh my gosh. I saw your cast the other day, and I was like, I wonder when she gets that off.
You want to know how long I have this stupid boot with no weight?
How long?
7 more weeks, and I'm going to die.
Oh my gosh. I've thankfully never had anything happen to my legs, so just my arms.
Just don't. It's awful. Sorry, I'm just complaining to you guys. But that was my deal for the day. I was like having myself a pity party like a couple hours before this Zoom and run. I was like, okay, I got to go